What's up, y'all? I just woke up from a little nap. It's like 9:45 in the evening. I gotta get back to sleep. I wanted to make a quick little video, I don't know, it'll probably go on for 20 minutes, about narcissists in the workplace and workplace bullying. Never has there been such a phenomenon that would make lawyers rich as much as narcissism in the workplace, because those of you who've dealt with these narcissistic personality disorder types, you know that these people don't understand boundaries. The rules don't apply to them. They're special, they're unique, the whole world revolves around them. These inferior beings just don't understand how divine they are. And so when they do things at the workplace that are unethical and illegal, they feel entitled to do that. You are trash, I am God, you see. I'm God. And so they will violate all sorts of laws. Now I'm going to tie this a little bit into workplace bullying. I think bullying and narcissism kind of go hand in hand. I mean, some people will bully purely out of insecurity. They're insecure and, you know, you're a threat to them, and so they do everything to sabotage your work. It was Gary Namey of the Workplace Bullying Institute that lists 4 primary types of workplace bullying. I don't remember what they all are. One of them that screams in your face and, you know, humiliates you in front of people. I mean, who really needs to do that? But he says that's actually kind of the minority of them. I mean, they're there, you know, because remember that a narcissist is generally, in a lot of cases, a sadist, and they like to hurt. They love the power they have over you. They are God, and you have some people, they're sadists. They just like to hurt on purpose. They will get positions of power just to hurt, because they see these inferior insects below them, and they're going to step on the gnats. Now, for the most part, unless the people they work for are also narcissists and sociopaths, which in a lot of cases is the case, they will hide the monster they are, but they'll do what, I believe it was, I'm going to quote Robert Sutton from the No A-hole rule. They'll do what's called a kiss up, kick down mentality, where the minute they walk in to the doors of a workplace, they'll dress real nice, they'll say all the right things, they'll try to be as charming as they can, they'll win the bosses, they'll kiss butt, it's called ingratiating, and that way, once they've won the hearts and souls and minds of the people they've manipulated above them, then they will come down at you and try to totally destroy you so they can get some sort of an erection over it, and they will have won the, you know, all they have to do is go, if you know, you're not complying with their wishes, and I'm not talking workplace rules. I'm not talking about not doing your job. They're not bullying you because you didn't do your job. If you're doing your job, if you're not doing your job, you know, there's legit reasons to be written up. There's legit reasons to be reprimanded. There's what we call, and I know this is going to sound really like a horrible phenomenon, called communication. Yeah, communication between, you know, the pecking order and the higher powers that be. Proper communication, good relationship between employer and employee. That's how victory is made. That's how places succeed. But do you think that a narcissist cares about his workplace? No, the narcissist cares about himself. The entire workplace exists for his divine glory. And so, by nature, they tend to sabotage all these places. You'll see profits lost, test scores go down, but their salaries keep getting bigger and bigger and bigger. Because I go to church on Sunday so God can worship me. But then they'll turn around and tell you, you don't go to church or I'll fire you. And then you're just like, wait a minute, I have a right to go to church. It's my day off. Well, then I'll make up something about you to get you fired. No, because I'm jealous of the idea you're worshiping God, not me. That's how these people think. They are walking lawsuits waiting to happen. They will stop at nothing. They don't have any issue about putting their fists in somebody's face if they're violent. Even though normal people know that's unethical, they don't have a problem with it because they're the boss. The boss is God. Now, I'm not saying most bosses think like this. I think the majority do not. The ones I work for, they don't, right? At least, you know. But in the past, I've dealt with that, and a lot of you have also dealt with that. I'm talking basically from an anachronistic standpoint. I'm actually looking. No, I said that wrong. Anachronistic is where you refer to something in the past. It's actually later. But in retrospect is what I mean. Not anachronistically, retrospect. Looking back, I've seen how these monsters work. Okay, they will stop at nothing. You and I go to the book of Exodus and we see, thou shalt not steal, thou shalt not kill, thou shalt not commit adultery. But their mind is, whoever wrote that is effing weak. I'm God. I can do whatever I want. Problem is, the companies end up paying for it. They're the ones who end up taking the fall for it. And then there's the PTSD that often shows up with a lot of their targets. And I say target, not victim, because victim's a mentality. Does anything on my page or anything on my YouTube channel look like I am a victim? Like I am somebody that's going to just, okay, I'll commit suicide because you want me to. I'll deny God and worship you. No. You know, I'm not going to sit there and die like a dog. I hate these scumbags. Now, generally speaking, right now, I'm in a really good situation in my life. You know, I've got a pretty positive environment around me. Stressful, and what I do, but, you know, work is. And when you care about your work, it tends to be stressful because you care about your work, because you care about the people around you, and you should. Don't give yourself a heart attack, but my job by its nature is just, but it's fun. I mean, it really is fun, and I really enjoy it. But I'm just talking across the board. I'm talking as a general rule, whether you work in a factory, whether you work at a company, whether you work in a school. I've heard that the workplace bullying is very popular in healthcare and education. And I mean, it's obvious the reason why. A lot of people that get into education as teachers or healthcare as nurses have a natural desire to help other people. They are empaths. They want to get in there and save the world. More so our first year, you know, we thought we could, and then their realism sets in. But you always want to help other people. You're the kind of person that's honest, willing to help. You know, you're confident. You wish other people well, and you want to try to lead. Nothing reeks of target and bullseye on your head to a narcissistic wolf more than that, because they are miserable, angry, envious, and they hate their life. And someone has to pay for it. Now, because narcissists are cowards and bullies are cowards by default, they will avoid what they perceive as the strong. In a sense. Now, you're strong. That's why you're so empathetic. But you're usually you're not a confrontational person. You're not a troublemaker. And that's why they spot you. I need someone who's real nice, likes their life. But somebody that's not going to stand up to me, I don't like that. So they go and they hide and they try to find the nicest person they can with the biggest heart. That's the least aggressive. I'm going to effing destroy them. I want to drive them to suicide. I need to die for being so happy. I mean, I even had a guy one day slam his fist down and go, why are you so damn happy? I'm going to do the right thing, so damn happy. That's not part of your job. Really? Will they write you up because you're happy? No, they're not writing you up because you're happy. They know they can't put that on paper. They'll write you up for something else because you're happy, and how dare you, damn it, when they're miserable, self-loathing saps, usually with alcohol problems or cheating problems or stealing problems or all sorts of other dysfunctionalities. You know, stealing is you take them from somebody else. I mean, if they want to get drunk, I guess, and run their car into a tree, you know, maybe the world would be a better place. But unfortunately, there's other good people that get hit in the process of that. But, you know, they need to burn the world. If they hate their life, I'm not saying they should take their own lives, but I'd certainly rather that than them take everybody else's or drive people to suicide or create all the chaos. But they are chaotic people. They are disgusting people. Everything they do in life, they exist to hurt others. And the whole world, they're burning the whole world around them just so they can get their attention and feed and praise. And unfortunately, a lot of people can't see through this. And then they wonder why their own companies and facilities or, you know, and workplaces are being completely destroyed. It's because of these scumbag slime. And they're like locusts. They will go from one place of employment and totally destroy it, go to the next place of employment, totally destroy it. And they usually get promoted because they fail their way up. They come in, they commit so many crimes, or they commit so many dishonorable acts that often legally there's no way to, you know, get rid of them. So because of, you know, some loophole, so then they have to promote them just to get them out of there because nobody wants them. And then people keep promoting them to get them away, and then before you know it, they become the top of the food chain and go, oh, now I can hurt everybody. They are disgusting, but unfortunately they are a parasite in the face of society. I just wish we could send them all to Pluto and nuke Pluto. But unfortunately, that's not an option right now. And lawyers, I think the lawyers need to start waking up to this too, because I think there's a lot of money. I'm not encouraging this, but I think it was 48 Laws of Power, Robert Greene, that says appeal not to people's self-interest, appeal not to people's good nature. They often have none, but appeal to their self-interest. So lawyers, if any lawyers are saying this, Think about how much money you can make, because these parasites get into workplaces and destroy it. They commit illegal acts. They commit crimes. They do all sorts of unethical behaviors because laws don't apply to them. Man, that's a lawsuit waiting to happen that you're going to win and fatten your pockets. You want to get rich? Start looking for narcissists. Go a narc hunting we will go. A narc hunting we will go, because they're doing stuff within that company. That you find that company that has that narc, find the dirty trail that the narc has left, and lawsuit. You're going to get rich. And in the process, some people that have been hurt are going to get some justice. These people's behavior are inexcusable. When we sign illegal contracts in any sort of profession or any sort of situation, business deals, or you sign legal contracts, the narcissist doesn't have to respect that contract. They're unique and special. That law is for ordinary people. Law is for ordinary people. I am above the law because I'm special, I'm unique, have special treatment, preferential privileges. And so they will break laws. They will break laws. And guess who pays it? Since the narcissist will always skirt personal responsibility, I'm not responsible for my own actions. No. Guess who takes the financial hit? The companies. And then often it puts the target out financially, but the target might actually win the lawsuit. Not always. Some professions, it's really hard to make that happen. I think what we need is an awareness of the disgusting behavior of the psychiatric disorder of these people. And if you're watching CEOs or businesses or companies, you want these people out. Now, I'm a little hopeful on one way. I mean, my situation is good. But, I know that there's a lot of other people. I know one girl, a friend of mine in particular, that's going through being targeted and harassed. By some boss that hates her life, and somebody's got to pay, of course. I mean, it's never work related. If you're doing a bad job, we can fix that. If you're lazy, you just don't ever do anything, then, whatever. I understand that certain times executive decisions have to be made. But if I was a supervisor and that was the case, I can talk to you like an adult. I have the intellectual faculties, I have the emotional maturity and the social intelligence to pull you into my office and sit down and have a heart-to-heart. So let's work out a plan. What can we do to improve the situation? But that's not what they're interested in doing, is it? They're like, you're going to get hurt real bad if you don't respect my power. Do you really want that in your workplace, knowing how much it will screw up your workplace, knowing the financial and legal fallbacks of that? Now, in the book, and I'm going to quote The No Asshole Rule by Robert Sutton, and I boast that book up a lot, and I can't boast it up too much. He also wrote Good Boss, Bad Boss. He deals with the financial cost of these, he doesn't really get so much into the narcissistic sociopath, aspect. I suggest for something like that, Snakes and Suits, when, sociopaths enter the workplace, or The Sociopath Next Door by Martha Stout. There's some good stuff in those books that go more into the personality disorder of it in specific. But Robert Sutton, who wrote the No Asshole book, No Asshole Rule, actually estimates the cost of one of these type of people to general companies. Now, and usually in things like non-for-profit or public education or public tax-funded type of companies, they get away with it a little bit more because nobody cares how taxpayers' money is spent. They throw it away like toilet paper. But in a company where you're trying to generate profits, the last thing you want to do is lose profits. Now, keep in mind, the narcissists will always fatten their own pockets. They will always fatten their own pockets because they are God. And their job is to become God by getting more and more money and more power. But guess where that gets sucked out of? Yeah, the company itself. Robert Sutton, in his book, The No Asshole Rule, actually estimates the cost of, and they've done a lot of research of this, the average cost of employee turnover because, due to one of these type of personality disordered freak shows. They say that on average, when a bully decides to target someone, that unless they lose their jobs, which they say about 75% of people that are targeted do end up losing their jobs or transferring, but they don't stay in the workplace, which is probably for the better because it's so toxic. If your health, it's not worth your health. It's not worth your health or happiness. I got so much more in my life than just my work, but I love my work. But I'm not in a toxic environment anymore, so I'm good. I am going to the beach next week. If I have this dental implant, life is good. Life is good for me. Just keep on keeping on. The party never ends. But I do love my profession. I really do. I wouldn't do anything else right now. But the cost of one of these bullies to the company, they say, the people that are not forced out of their jobs, they say that the actual targets, 25% of them will leave and find another job because they don't want to put up with it. Well, there's at least 2 witnesses to that ugly behavior, And on that, they say that approximately 20% of those people will leave. And so they estimated the cost the model they had was a company of 1,000 people, where employee retraining, rehiring, recruiting costs over about $20,000 per employee. They estimated the cost that one bully boss would cost for the turnover in the targets themselves was approximately $750,000 a year. Okay, that's a lot of money to pay for some person to go, you looked at me the wrong way, I'm going to slander you, and I'm going to hurt, company's going to pay for my disorder. So you guys really want to keep some nuts go like that around for $750,000, and that's for one bully boss, one, with just the targets. Now, if you included in the cost of the people who witnesses that left, they say about 20% of them left, and it ends up being a little short of, I believe, $2 million each time you have one bully boss at a company of 1,000, where it's $20,000 to retrain, and your turnover is at 25% of your targets and 20% of your witnesses, that your cost on average to the company in turnover each time that happens because of a bully is approximately about $2 million a year. That's pretty good. So we have a company with two bully bosses, if they turn over yearly, two bully bosses, over in a company of 200 or of 2,000 people, you're looking at about $4 million in turnover. You just blew $400. He's my friend. I need to help him hurt people. Well, if you're a thief, that's $4 million you could have laundered into your own pocket. But we know nobody would ever do that because Jesus told us not to, Lord, ever. We got to be that good religious man of family and faith. So, no, they are incredibly costly. And that is just the turnover. That's not including lawsuits and payouts and payoffs and return. Why do you want that in your company? And that is why Forbes 500 magazine, which I love, Forbes 500. Man, I don't subscribe, but I always see their articles online. And there's some things I might differ with a little bit. But generally speaking, they have some really, really good articles written with and by the business pros. And this is fortunately becoming a model people are trying to imitate now. They have their own version of it. He calls it the no asshole rule, and he says why he used that language. He said, I didn't want to be the guy who wrote that book, but jerk and bully just didn't cut it. He goes, I was trying to capture the emotional grasp at what we all think of these people, and we do. And it's cost more money for, people will take unnecessary days off just to stay away from their bosses. The boss says, you come in Friday because I need to hurt you real bad. I want to put my fist in your face and back against the wall and grit my teeth and threaten your job just so I feel good about myself. Well, I'm not coming in Friday. Screw that. All right. Well, then I'll get you on Monday. Take that day off, too. And now I'm stressing you out because you're having health issues, so that means you're going to have more days off and more payout in health insurance. I like hurting people real bad, and they do. And your companies pay for it. Why do you want that? Why do you want that? But anyway, apparently a lot of companies have caught on to this sort of epidemic, and they've decided to start creating like workplace rules. Now, a lot of companies have anti-bully policies, but that's just on paper to make themselves look good, because we know nobody wants to look good just for image. But some people either, are willingly ignorant. They don't really know how to deal with bullying. That does happen. Doesn't excuse it, but that does happen. I mean, maybe we need some more trainings on this. Or they're bullies themselves, or, it's their friend, but some of these companies actually encourage bullying. But now, a lot more companies have caught on to this, and, they'll have none of it. Google started, they wanted profits. I mean, you're in business. You're trying to make profits. And, people think, oh, yeah, profits over people. Profits over people. No, I disagree with that. I don't think that's a good idea. People come first. But when you work well with people, profits by nature generate, right? Because you're providing a good and services rendered. You're keeping customers happy. Keep your employees happy. I think it was Richard Branson, who owns Virgin, the company Virgin. Yeah, I talked to my occult videos about that name and where that all derives from. But Richard Branson had a really good point that I totally agree with. He said, don't worry so much about taking care of your customers. Take care of your employees first. And if you take care of your employees, then your employees will take care of your customers. Customers will be happy. Profits will come in. Oh my gosh, that's a good business model. I like hurting people. Okay. But you can't have it both ways. And you're sick. Just want to put that out there. So anyway, apparently Google adopted what they call the no, don't be evil, and they make you sign a contract called don't be evil. You have the no a-hole rule. There's one, I think it's in Australia, called and I'm going to keep it, the no D-head rule. Because it is such an epidemic that companies are like, we're tired of losing profits, we're tired of losing productivity, we're tired of watching our companies getting sued and having excess employees days off and high turnovers, all because one person's like, oh. I'll give you a couple examples. I believe in the book, The No A-Hole Rule, Robert Sutton again, he talks about Joseph A. Banks, the clothing manufacturer, and this clothing manufacturer, they had this best salesman. This guy was their number one salesman, and he was outselling everybody, but he would degrade and demean and sabotage and be mean to everybody, but he would have the best profits. But he was so intolerable to work with that they canned him. They had to can him. When they canned him, morale went up. Everybody got inspired, and then even though he was the highest salesman in the company, getting rid of him actually brought the overall profits of the company itself, I think, up to 13% higher. It might have been more. So getting rid of this bully, this narcissist, this sociopath, I was hurting you real bad. He might have been the highest salesman, but he was the weak link in the chain overall. And so once they cut him, all the profits went up, all the productivity went up. So yeah, it was a good day for the company. I did get a little bit of good news from a friend of mine who said that her daughter, no names, I never mention names, her daughter was working for a company, was doing pretty successful, and then she was going to apply for another job. Well, come to find out, the girl that she worked under, who had been her friend, we thought, so she was here, and her friend was above her a little bit in the pecking order. Well, the girl here was going to go apply for another job, to upward mobility, advancement, greater opportunity. What she didn't realize was the girl above her had applied for the same job. So she went back, and after she'd applied for this job, she told her friend, yeah, I applied for this job over here. The friend that was above her decided, oh, really? I'm going to get you. I'll stab you in the back. I'll sabotage. So she went to the boss in the same company and said, hey, she's over here applying for this other job. She's leaving the company. You need to get her. You need to get her. Gossip, gossip, gossip. Trying to stab her in the back, but only for her own opportunity, right? The manager of the company she was in saw the way she came to him and started gossiping and trying to get this girl in trouble. And the manager of the company immediately flipped it and it blew back. And he said, told somebody else, this girl, she's very negative. She's coming in here starting gossip and drama and backstabbing. We don't want people like that working for the company. I do not want people like that in my company at all. Now, whether they actually got rid of her or not, I don't know. But boy, that's a good start at someone being wising up to these wicked ways and smelling what these idiots are doing. These best CEOs and best managers, they are wise to the bully's little counterattacks or the little manipulation, crocodile tears kind of thing. And what they'll do is they'll go to the boss and go, he's hurting me real bad. And the boss will be like, hold on, you have power over him. You're the supervisor. You have the power over him. And you're whining because he's doing this. And then once they're caught, they'll turn into rage. And there's that rage of the sociopath again. And then here come the lawyers, and here come the lawsuits, and here comes the turnover, and here comes the blah, blah, blah. Money out, money out, money out, money out. Couldn't you put that money in your own pocket? But you blew it. Anyway, that was real quick. Some of the resources on workplace bullying, which usually go hand in hand with narcissistic personality disorders, because normal people do not go to work and say, I'm going to hurt my staff today, or I'm going to hurt my coworkers today, or I got to slander him, or I got to gossip about him, or I have to destroy. And why do I destroy? Because I'm pathetic and I'm a loser, and I have absolutely nothing better to do in my life than to hurt somebody else. Did you kick kittens when you were a kid too? You like hurting things? Do you like hurting things? Maybe you need a medicine. Maybe you need medicine. Maybe you need to be locked up. If you hate life, I'm not saying you should take your own life, but, don't take somebody else's. It's your choice. I'm just saying, stop treating people like that, but we should not put up with that, ever. Nobody should have to put up with that. And unfortunately, these disgusting, childish behaviors get in the system and screw it for everybody else. They think they're God. They think they're special and unique, and the whole world is sunshine and rainbows, even though they're miserable and raging, but they think that everybody should worship them. And it's destroying companies. It's destroying lives. It's generating lawsuits. It's generating fun. It's generating destruction. And so, what is it they say? Narcissistic personality disorder is that one mindset where the narcissist goes through life thinking everything's just great, and everybody else is getting destroyed in a train wreck. They destroy their relationships, they destroy their workplaces, usually locusting, like locusts from place to place, parasiting and destroying it, sucking it dry and leaving, and then somebody else has to pick up the pieces again. So there's that aspect. And I believe it was Gary Namey of the Workplace Bullying Institute that mentions 4 workplace bullying types. And I have a playlist on workplace bullying. Check it out. It's actually pretty good. I compiled some pretty good stuff there. And he talks about one of the ways they do it. You know, there's the screaming in your face boss. There's the sabotaging your work. In other words, they'll set you up to fail. You know, they'll ask you to be in 3 different places at once, knowing that you can't do it, and then writing you up for not being in the other 2 when they set it up to begin with, or locking up all your equipment in different closets and denying you the key, and then blaming you for not doing the work you're supposed to do, so they can get ahead of feed. You know, there's the slander. There's using evaluations against you. They're not going to give you an honest evaluation. You could be the shining star of the company. You probably are, and that's why they're jealous, and you need to pay for that. And so then they'll write, you know, this and this and that, and slander and slander. By the way, that's highly illegal. That's highly illegal to use evaluations against somebody just for personal thing, but then how do you prove it? So there's that mess, too. There's all sorts of little tactics. So workplace bullying deals with narcissistic personality disorders. But it's not workplace bullying like I called you a bad name and it hurt your feelings kind of stuff. Something that you can slack off. But narcissists will use, but they take it to a whole ugly level. They'll actually go to the boss and say you're stealing money from the company, or they'll call the cops and file false charges on you, or they'll sabotage your work and then write you up and blame you for it. And they will do what they will gossip. They'll call your wife and stage it to where, okay, like if I'm mad at a male coworker. If I'm mad at a male coworker and I'm a narcissistic boss, I hate my life. And I have a coworker under me that's male, or it could be a coworker, it doesn't have to be a boss, or you could do it to an employer. There's bully employees too. It's usually more the minority, but it's there. What you do is that, you know, you stage it to where you have a lady call up that man's wife and claim that he's having an affair with me, and I'm real sorry, but that's just what happened, to hurt the wife to get to the guy to destroy him. Is that workplace related? No. But all they want to do is burn the world. They're Jezebels. They're narcissists. They're the spirit of Satan herself. All right? That's what these people do. They are destroyers. They're destroyers. And companies need to wisen up to this. But it all boils down not to work performance. It boils down to personality disorders that get into the workplace. And a narcissist loves power. And that's not to say all people in power are narcissists. That's not true. There have been many good people that have used their, you know, power very, very well. Then we could say, you know, Lord Acton, power corrupts and absolute power corrupts absolutely. There might be some truth to that, but not everybody that wields power is corrupt. I mean, a lot of cases that becomes the way but I think it's because the narcissism it feeds, like me, and there you have it. There's your demon child, unleashed to burn the world. But a lot of times people that are attracted to power are already narcissists, and so it may not be as much that the power corrupts them. I mean, that can happen, but rather that they already had narcissistic tendencies, and that's why they needed the power. So now they can be God and burn the world. And so that's what you're dealing with. There you have it, narcissists in the workplace, sociopaths in the workplace, and how it ties into workplace bullying. I know it's a long video, but you got to listen and learn, and hope you guys have a great evening. Later. I'll get some water.